This is an urgent appeal from the Disasters Emergency Committee. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes to escape conflict in Ukraine, leaving jobs, belongings and loved ones behind. They need shelter, food and water. You can help. To donate online, search DEC or text radio to 70150 to give £10. Thank you.
Streaming 24/7, this is Brum Radio.
Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
You're listening to Interval Theatre, the podcast. This week I spoke to Tom Senior, who is playing Gaston in Beauty and the Beast at Birmingham Hippodrome. I'm joined on the telephone by Tom Senior, who is playing Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, which is on at the Birmingham Hippodrome until the 26th of March. Good afternoon, Tom. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Dave. Yeah, I'm fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this chat today.
My pleasure.
So you've been in, as this goes out, you've been in Birmingham for a week or so now.
Yeah.
How's that going? What's the reaction
It's
been
been
like?
great, you know. Yeah, we've come down from Sunderland, and Birmingham is just a great city, and the theatre itself is pretty magical. It's lovely and open, and it's just great to hear the raucous audiences. So it's we've really been enjoying it.
It's quite a big stage on the Hippodrome's actual stage. Has the production managed to scale into that space?
It really has, and I was thinking that actually side stage that last week. I thought it's much bigger than some of the stages that we've. I would say bigger than most stages that we've played at, but it has transferred really nicely into the theatre. It lends itself to like huge epic theatres, so it's looking really good in there.
Tell me about your role as Gaston. What was your sort of approach to coming to this production, and what did you already know?
So I mean, I've watched the cartoon and obviously loved the cartoon as a kid, and then I hadn't watched the new Disney film, but then was going up for the audition and thought I would watch the film and loved it. But actually, they don't want the part played like the latest Disney film at all. They kind of wanted me to put my own stamp on it. So the part is unlike the cartoon. It's unlike the film version, and that's kind of like the show in itself. It's taken on a new lease of life and kind of a new energy, and that's what Matt West, the director, wanted really. You know, for instance, the objects on a clock isn't a candle. They're slowly morphing into that as time goes on. So the show itself has just taken on a different energy and slight different story or a message as such, with this sort of classic story in there, but it's taken on a new lease of life, which is great.
I find that people going to see productions that they loved as children, they really take ownership of those productions, and if they find minor differences, they tend to be like, I saw a difference. How does that feel to put your own stamp on it and then see how it's received as well?
It feels great, because coming to a revival, you kind of, as an actor and as a creative person, you don't just want to copy someone else. It's really nice that we were given license to do that, and whether the audience love it or not, then it's all down to the applause and at the end. And I gather if people are standing up, cheering and clapping, that they're enjoying it, and the fact that it's, you know, sold out pretty much all year is brilliant within itself. So I think you've still got the story, you've still got the classic songs, you've just got different bits that will open up people's imagination more and feed them more into the story. It's very heavily story based, so people do find that they go in there and they're connecting more to the characters, or connecting more to the songs, because we're now not playing cartoon characters. For instance, back in the day, Gaston was in a muscle suit. He's not anymore. He's just in a really cool costume. The costumes are amazing. So people are just connecting far more to the story and far more to the characters, because they're far more relatable at the moment.
Do you think that when it comes to being in the performance, do you hear the audience singing at different moments? Is that something
you
that
do?
happens?
Yeah, and depending on what sort of day it is, if it's, you know, Saturday afternoon or something like that, you're getting people singing along, clapping with Be Our Guest or Gaston, like they know the songs. And there's also some really beautiful musical theatre songs that maybe the general public won't know, because they won't have seen the original song. But Alan Menken, some of his songs are some of the best musical theatre songs ever written. that aren't even in the film, so they'll get to be blessed with those songs as well.
Do you have moments where you're able to see parts of the production from the side of the stage yourself?
Yeah, we do. Unfortunately, I miss Be Our Guest because we're off stage then, but you do see some magical moments when the prince gets turned into the beast at the start, or when I'm waiting to come on for Gaston, you start to see Belle first enter into the castle as she first comes to see Mrs. Potts and the wardrobe and things like that. So you do see some really great moments. And the thing about the show is you've got the castle and you've got the village, and we're all kept pretty separate. So for instance, I never interact with the objects. I never interact with the castle until I break into the castle. So therefore, it's really nice to watch your fellow actors side stage and just witness the kind of magic that's going on, really. And it's lovely when you hear the odd kind of child or adult, scream things out in the audience because it's brought back memories. It's nice as an actor to hear that.
One of the things that I noticed when I've seen panto versions of Beauty and the Beast is that the Disney version has different names for the characters. And I found that quite quirky because the way that I think of the characters is through the Beauty and the Beast names. But they've only been around for sort of 30 years. Did you think about it in that sort of way in those terms?
Do you know what? When I've done pantos in the past and you get the different names, I kind of understand why they have to do different names, maybe for copyright reasons and stuff like that. But it's really nice to do the actual musical, allowed to sing all the songs, allowed to be called by the proper names, and just do it properly, like really kind of embellish and witness the magic that Beauty and the Beast brings. And the number one thing that kept getting hammered into us in rehearsals is that this isn't a pantomime. This is a real story. We're telling a real magical story, and we're trying to tell it to the best of our ability and move people. So whenever there was an inkling of pantomime or tongue-in-cheek to the audience, it quickly got erased, because that's not what we're doing. We're telling a classic story, and pantomimes do their own thing, but the director Matt West was very clear on that this isn't a pantomime, and I think that's the beauty of our production, actually.
I've been very lucky to see Beauty and the Beast as a ballet as well, and that was a very sort of grand experience. Everything about this production that I've been seeing about it has suggested that it's grand as well. Does that scale come across during the production?
It's huge. I think we're one of the biggest touring companies that have ever graced England. Like, the amount of lorries that we've got is it's a humongous show. I think there's about 100 people inside the theatre at one time who are trying to put on the show of Beauty and the Beast. So that just shows the kind of scale of it. The amount of money that's been spent on the show is absolutely ridiculous. So grand is a great word, but also there's grand at one end of the spectrum, but then there's also like real and powerful, and it's so real and relatable, the show. You're kind of witnessing real people on stage, and it also almost makes you go, oh yeah, there could be a guy who is a beast in a castle somewhere in this world. It really takes you to that place, but also you can connect with the story more than I think ever before.
One of the things that I have noticed from the tour dates is Birmingham is actually seems to be the shortest engagement that you've got going forward, and that's 3 weeks. Is that weird?
It is. Yeah, it is very weird, actually. And we all thought that. Birmingham's such a great city and a great theatre. We would all like to be doing longer there. I think because we're in Manchester next, and we're in Manchester for 3 months, that's potentially why it's happened. But we all definitely wouldn't be angry if we were spending 2-3 months in Birmingham as well. But I just think with how it's panned out, and obviously COVID has taken a bit of an impact on some of the venues that we've had, I think Birmingham is just one of the shorter venues for some reason.
I have been at productions that have been in this situation where they've sold out so well that you would have wanted them to stay longer. And I think there's always that element of not outstaying your welcome versus being sold out. So it's really lovely to be in that position where you're able to say that as well.
It is, and it's lovely as an actor as well to kind of witness that.
I'm thrilled to be coming to see this production tomorrow. I've been waiting to come and see it for quite a long time. We first heard that it was going to be coming to Birmingham probably about 8 months ago. So it was one of those ones. And the Hippodrome really wanted us to shout about it when it first came around. So I've been playing tracks from Beauty and the Beast throughout.
Nice.
Have you got a favourite track?
I have. The old classic one is Tale as Old as Time. As soon as we all heard that in rehearsals, we were kind of all moved to tears because it brought us all back to our childhood. I don't think there was a dry eye in the rehearsal room. But then there's one that Belle sings at the end, and it's called Changing Me. And it's one of the great musical theatre songs. And I think, like I spoke to you about, not many of the general population who've just seen the film will know that song, but there's so many of those types of songs that are like what I call earworms. They just get stuck into your head, and you just sort of need to go back and listen to them again.
We will play one of those tracks then for you after this interview.
Thank you.
Just to say thank you so much for joining us today as well.
My pleasure.
You can find out details of Beauty and the Beast at beautyandthebeastmusical.co.uk. It is at the Birmingham Hippodrome till the 26th of March, and there are like 3 tickets available.
Really?
And if you want to sit next to a stranger, then that's fine, but you will be sat on your own without your friends. So if you do that, there are those tickets available, and there'll be some returns, but not very many at all. And then the tour heads off to Manchester, as we said. Then it's going to London and Dublin, and it finishes in Dublin in January 2023. That's fantastic. What a brilliant run through the year. I'm very excited, as I say, to be coming to see this. Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us about this today.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.